What's happening? We are back. I know Jason's been working. I've been just doing nothing. No. That's how it usually works out.
Per usual, right?
Per usual. Yeah, I've been doing
Yeah.
nothing, but we're back. Ward Wrestling, SE Wrestle. Lots going on, lots coming up. We've got well, the first Southeast 32 is in Georgia this weekend. Then the weekend of the 7th is North Carolina. The weekend of the 14th is Florida. So we've got three coming up soon.
Yeah. So the first one in the Southeast. But you know what's interesting is like I think Pennsylvania already had one. I think Jersey already had one. I was doing a kind of a little bit of a deep dive on it, and I think there are now like 8 states, which is way more than there used to be. And Georgia used to be first. So, I mean, it is
Yeah,
what it
you see,
is. You know
there's
what I
one
mean?
in. I know Indiana's got one, California's got one, but
Yep.
you know, before we uh, before we get started here, I would just like to let everybody
Ooh, yay.
kind of watch this minute and check out Mike Mocco winning a world title.
Look at that ankle pick by a heavyweight, man.
Wow.
And you know what? I was talking to Lucas yesterday. That leg lace has got to be so tight for that guy to just go.
Oh, and I mean, he didn't even get up for a while. There's the celebration, walks over to his dad, does a backflip, then walks over to his dad. Ref yells at him for doing that. But man, awesome stuff. Seeing Mike Mocco, Florida boy. Congratulations to the Mocco family uh, for winning the world championship there. That
Agree.
was that was unbelievable, awesome stuff. And
Well, if you watched any of his matches, I mean, that was impressive, right? That was the whole match, guys. That was it. If you didn't get to see it, that was the entire match,
yes, it
right?
was over
And
quick.
and you know what? That happened in lots of his matches.
Yes, he was on a mission. Definitely, I know that people were asking why. People were like, "Hey, where's Mako? He's not at Fargo." Well, that's why he was.
Mm-hmm.
I think he has three of those big stop signs already, so it was time to get a world title.
No,
And
I mean, it was fantastic. He wrestled so well. And, I want to go ahead before I forget and give a tip of the cap to two others from the Southeast who wrestled there. Piper Fowler, who was a world champ at this event last year, ended up taking fifth this year. And Nate Askew, who is from Georgia, wrestled at Baylor, now at Tar Heel Wrestling Club up in North Carolina. Nate won his first two matches, then lost a tough one in the quarters, and unfortunately, if you're unfamiliar with the that level of competition and the world rules, repechage is something you have to kind of be pulled back into the tournament. And unfortunately for Nate, his loss to his quarterfinal opponent, he lost in the semis, so he didn't get a chance to come back and wrestle
yeah,
for
and
fifth or
and
third.
uh, and two others. We had KJ
Right,
Vasquez,
right.
who came in seventh with Team Puerto Rico, and we had I know her as Mary Manis. The Greeks put her up there as Merivani. I guess that's how they do it. And she took fifth in the world. So congratulations to all those Florida kids and awesome. But to see Mako kind of just do what he did, he definitely looked like a man amongst little boys. I mean, he just cruised.
He is I was talking to Lucas about this, and watching Michael for, I don't know, probably, I mean, I don't really pay attention to the middle school kids very much, but let's say like over the last 4 years, as he's kind of moved from that middle school age up, and because he wrestled middle school in the Florida State tournament, so that's why I know him a little bit from the middle school years. He is just evolved into an absolute monster, and he is he has gotten so good with his positioning, with his, I mean, he is just hit the steps that he had. I mean, even from last year when he was the OW for 16 U's in Fargo and wrestled absolutely good. This Michael Mocco, this version of Michael Mocco probably kicks the you know what out of the
Yeah.
that last
And
year's Michael
and
Mocco.
by the way, last year's Michael Mocco won both sides.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
it's that level of competition. I mean,
Oh,
I just watched him and I'm really amazed at his trajectory. And man, I'll tell you what, you know that there were already college coaches calling. Now, I mean, well, I'm sure there's even
oh,
more. Maybe,
please. When
yeah.
when uh when Michael and his brother were born, there were college coaches
It might have been a little too
handing them
early in the
cars.
recruiting
Yeah,
period,
yeah,
right?
yeah. They were coming in with little beanie shirts. Each college was already giving them that. But congratulations to obviously
Absolutely.
the Mako family. They're absolutely wonderful, and they do so much for Florida wrestling, but also wrestling in general. Uh,
Absolutely.
and they got a little brother that's coming up who's not so little, and I think we're going to see him make noise. And they've got a daughter that's been wrestling that she's coming up, and
Oh,
uh,
wow.
I think it's going to be cool. Yeah,
Very cool. That's awesome.
that's fun.
That's a great
Well,
way to
good.
start the show.
And I'm sorry, Georgia, that I talked about Florida first, but he did win a world championship, so we'll talk about we'll talk about the Georgia 32 coming up.
Before we jump to that,
Yeah,
I wanna actually talk a little bit about two other kids and the U20s that are coming up here this coming weekend in Spain. Shout out to my boy Corey Land out of Alabama, Moody, Alabama, and now at the University of Northern Iowa. He'll be wrestling in Greco. And I believe Caitlin Davis, who wrestled in Florida one year at Land O'Lakes High School. I could be wrong, but I know Caitlin graduated from high school in the state of South Carolina. And Caitlin is on the women's team um, heading to Spain for their tournament, which will be this coming weekend. I mean, it's great. And then you know what? We've got more at the U23 level, which are in a few weeks as well. So how fun is it to be able to cheer on some Southeast kids
yeah.
as they compete on
And
such a
listen,
national
we've
world
got
stage? Yeah, is there some Puerto
uh,
Rico girl, any Florida kids that are in Puerto?
yeah, there's uh, two off the top of my head is Vergara and Rivera. So you've got
Bagara's in it.
yeah, Vergara and Rivera would be U20. So I think it's U20 or U23.
Uh, Well, I mean, it's really hard to know. No, Ethan Vergara is wrestling for Puerto Rico at U20s. So
Yeah.
I love
So
like
yes,
one of the funniest individuals to hang out with and
as
just
Vergara.
talk
Oh,
to
U20. I'm
is
sorry. Yeah, Vergara is U20. Um, the Rivera is U23.
so Vergara is one of the funniest young
Yes.
men to hang out with and just talk to.
Um,
He was so much fun.
you'll also see oh God,
Uh-oh.
Kevin Olivaria from South Dade
Oh, Kevin Olivaria is wrestling for Puerto Rico as well.
will be there as well. And
Let's
I
see
mean,
if I
I'll
can
tell
find
you.
him. See, this is so guys,
uh,
I'm gonna explain to you, right? This is one of the reasons why so everybody says, well, what about so and so? They wrestled in the Southeast once upon a time. And I'm
yeah,
talking about in the United States. They go up to Pennsylvania and now wrestle, that sort of thing.
yeah,
It
Vergara and
is so hard to
Olivaria.
keep track of kids who leave the Southeast and go and compete for someone else, or they don't compete for the United States because, I mean, I understand why you do, but my natural tendency is to look at Team USA and see who from the Southeast is from Team
Right.
USA. I
Yeah,
don't
and
go over to Greece or
obviously with
Kyrgyzstan or whatever.
right. So I'm glad that I keep an eye on that a little bit because of some people that we know. But yeah, we've got
Absolutely.
and there may be I'd have to look into it because I know that Florida also had a young man at the U20 Pan Ams that wrestled at Miami Palmetto, last name Alexander. He wrestles for Jamaica, I think it was Jamaica, or it's not just Jamaica, it's Jamaica and blah 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 blah, something else. And
Oh, okay.
he may be going as well. So there are kids all around that are doing
So
that.
I
So good
did
luck.
see Kevin Oliveria on the list. Kind of
Yeah.
throws me off a little bit because on his list for the names, not only comes up with Oliveria, it actually he has another last name or an additional last name as well. So
Oh yeah, because he's from Puerto Rico. So like my
oh, is
wife is
that
from
how
Puerto
that works?
Rico, so she has like six names. She's
Oh
like Rivera,
wow.
Quintana, Televida, Quintana,
And I can
yeah,
barely keep track of three. Like how in the world
yeah,
am I gonna keep
yeah.
track of five?
So we would have had Ethan Rivera, Eli's little brother at U20s. He's got a commitment at Princeton that he has to commit to. So Puerto Rico is looking into trying to see if they can get him on the 23 team. So hopefully that happens. Good luck to him with that.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
so hopefully he can get out there and wrestle with his brother. But um, yeah, we'll talk about Georgia 32 coming up this weekend. Quick thing too is and again, we're going to talk about you, Georgia. I just got to get to this weekend. This this weekend we had the 25th anniversary of the National Wrestling Hall of Fame Florida chapter banquet and induction ceremonies, and we had seven people go in, uh, and one was an outstanding American, and Mike Pedersen, and well deserved to everybody. I mean, Sal Basil, Rylan Wagner, Jim Daly.
Were you gonna do this off
Um,
the top of your head? Oh,
yes, yes.
this is
You
gonna
ready? You
end
ready?
in
You ready?
this is
I
gonna
got it.
end
I
in
got it.
failure, dude.
Mike Pedersen, Sal Basil, Rylan Wagner, Jim Daly, Dan Moody, um, Rylan Wagner, Mike Pedersen, Jim Daly, Dan Moody, Sal Basil. There's two more. I know these. I know them. I interviewed them all.
Coach Ryan,
Patrick Ryan, and I said Mike Pedersen.
I don't know if you did it the next time or not. I don't know off the top of my head.
So Sal Basil,
Oh, here we go.
Patrick
We are
Ryan.
repeat it again.
Yes, yes, yes. Sal Basil, Patrick Ryan, Rylan Wagler, Jim Daly, Dan Moody, Mike Pedersen.
Oh, he's so see. This is why do we do this? Why do you do this to yourself?
Anyway, anyway, that's who it was. So
Michael Graham, Michael Graham.
Michael Graham, how do I forget him? I love his wife. I love him, Michael Graham. Sorry, off the top of my head, I was trying to do it, and since we're on air, I messed it all up. But listen, all these people well deserved. The one thing I said I love about this weekend is getting to sit down with these guys. Um, is I get to learn the lineage of them, right? So I mean, we get to see them in the corner. I mean, you know the lineage of them because you've been in Florida wrestling a million years. But for me, it's only been a
That's
few.
not that
And
long.
well, and I see them coaching in the corner, and I've seen their recent stuff. But to learn, Patrick
Right. You
Ryan's
know,
been
I
with,
mean, I think like that
yeah,
when Detry wrestled for Coach Daly once upon a time, and that's really kind of what I remember about Coach Daly. So, but yes, you're
yeah,
right. You're right.
Patrick Ryan being with Venice since fifth grade, like that's crazy. He's just been there the whole
And
time.
I
So
looked it up. Venice has had way more state champs than just like you said. You thought they were one or something like that.
I just read the bio.
Oh.
So whoever wrote the bio was wrong. Ah, um, but if anybody wants to read about a real American hero, look up. I mean, look up Mike Pedersen and Kevin Pedersen. I mean, 2 years ago, Kevin went in. This year,
Mhm.
Mike went in. Um, I mean, obviously, everybody was well deserving, but in reality, they coach wrestling. Like this guy, 66 flights or 66. He had 66 flights in Desert Storm or 60, whatever they call it, missions. I mean, just the things he's done in life and his brother. So God bless them. But yeah, obviously Basil and all them was awesome. But yeah, it was a great turnout. We had fun. Congratulations to them. 25th anniversary. Um, they had the biggest, largest turnout they've ever had. Over 460 people showed up for dinner. Um, they do a breakfast in the morning where the testimonials happen. So two people each introduce you to the inductees. They get up and speak. That breakfast had more people in it than the inaugural banquet 25 years ago. It had over 250 people just at the breakfast alone. So it was a great turnout and a lot of fun.
Congratulations to them. Each are very well deserved.
Yeah, and I believe Jim Daly might be up in Georgia too.
Oh, really?
I think so because he mentioned to me, hey, when I did this in Georgia, somebody was videotaping and gave us discs. And I'm like, discs?
Was it 1982?
Right. I'm like, they gave you a disc? I mean, the great thing is I can just text it to you. I mean, I gave you discs. So that was that.
Here,
But yeah.
you put your smartphone up, I'll put my smartphone up, and we'll just transfer it this way.
Yeah. So I was like, I could just send it to you via airdrop. I mean, I don't have to do any of that. Oh, you remember the paper disc and they'd hand it to you to have a name on it? You'd be like, wow. I was
I
like, damn. I
I'm
said,
not gonna
Jim,
engage. I'm not
Jim,
gonna
that must have been a
engage.
long time ago. That must have been a long time ago.
I am not gonna engage in your technological shaming of what I remember back when. As I just want to say, as of 2 days ago, when I broke out, I had a big box of old VCR tapes, and I broke out an old VCR, and they were actually on like little cassettes, so I had to put them. They weren't labeled or anything. I put them on the thing, and sure enough, man, I think I had me wrestling on some. I had some videos of my kids are on there. I mean, all
Oh
sorts
man.
of things. So it
I
was
have so yeah. I have
pretty
some
cool.
boxing. I found some boxing VHSs that I have. I mean, I've got all of the Gotti Ward boxing match fights on this thing, which are legendary. I've got LeBron James' first ever game on ESPN. I
Oh, is that
recorded it.
right?
I recorded on
You
VHS. And
recorded it.
yeah, on VHS. He didn't turn, and I probably shouldn't have done that. He didn't turn out to be too good. So
Well,
um,
I'm sure ESPN has it in their archives. I'm just saying.
right. But it's funny. Speaking of like American things to do, Kurt Hartman, who is the son of Mike Pedersen, was talking about him and said, "How American is that? He still has an AOL email."
Yeah, there you go.
And the best part was he was naming all the awards he got, right? Like 4 stars in this, 5 flags in this, pins that, and then he at the end he goes, and he's a 4.7 stars on Uber something something something. That was
So
good.
if you need a ride
Oh,
home,
he's like, you need a ride home. Yeah, he's got it. Uh, man, so I went to look up for Georgia 32. You may have secret access. So you probably have all that stuff, right?
I posted a preview, man.
Oh, because on Flow Arena, it's there, but it isn't opened up yet, where
Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
doesn't have a hyperlink yet. So let me go to I'm going to go to SEWrestle.com where you can find all the information you need on the Southeast.
Ab-
SEWrestle.com. Okay, so we're going to go
paid
there.
advertising right there.
Advertising. There it is. Participation list. Georgia 32 preview. Boom.
So
All right. So,
one of the things that I love about the Super 32 early entry tournaments, right? And Georgia specifically, Florida, um, the same, but not historically necessarily the same as this. And then some other states kind of picking it up. And that is the level of competition is quite good. I mean, quite good. Now, in Florida, I know there was a period of time when they didn't want those that had already qualified for the tournament in the tournament. So,
yeah.
you still had some good competition, but you didn't get some matchups that you have seen in the last several years.
Yeah. I
Because the
think we're
matchups
past
you've
all
seen the
that,
last
right?
several years, man, They are fantastic. They're again,
Unbelievable.
they're the level of competition. I'm going to tell you, when I was going through last year's brackets in Georgia, and I'll do the same thing in Florida, there were kids who ended up winning a state title who didn't finish top four at this qualifying tournament.
Well, that's yeah, it's unbelievable. This tournament is amazing. This is even the Florida 32 tournament has started to become, one of the
Yes, it
top
has.
talented tournaments. But I'm sorry, don't talk about Florida. This is Georgia.
Oh, stop
We,
it.
no, so Georgia 32. We've got. By the way, I sent out an email to all the Georgia high schools. I'll be there the week October 7th to the 12th. If anybody would like to have
Yeah,
media day done.
so actually this gives me a chance to give you a little publicity. Your media days are pretty cool, dude. I mean, if
I
you've
try to make
seen
them fun.
if
I
you've
try to
seen
make them fun.
George Jenkins posted theirs. I don't know if you posted it or they posted it, but they were a lot of fun. It looks like a lot of fun. And honestly, for as much as you get from it for the entire team, at the cost of it is not significant. I mean, I bet you money you get a sponsor that pays for, you know, the coverage of that, and you could take those pictures. And did they take one of your pictures and put it on their schedule? Did they make their
Yes.
schedule based off it? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I mean, that's super cool, dude.
Yeah, so we can make their schedule and everything. And
Do
I
you make the
know that
schedule?
I make the graphic schedules. That picture I took, that's right out of the camera. I didn't edit that picture at all. Um, that's right out of the camera. And then obviously you can see what I did because they have boys and girls. Um,
Yeah,
so
that's very cool, dude. I love it. I mean,
yeah,
I know a lot. There's a
um,
lot of schools who do those sorts of things, and
yeah, and
um,
I have options obviously, and we'll get back to this, but I have like you'll see here. Here's a lot of team photos and calendars, and you'll see where I'm not going to open them up, but if you take a look, you can see all the calendars, and you can choose from any of these templates that I've made over the years.
yeah,
So
I think that's pretty
pretty
cool,
cool
dude.
stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. But thank you for the shout out. Back to Georgia 32. Yeah, if anybody's interested, please give me a call. I'll be there the first week of October. And look, if it takes off in Georgia, we can put a whole month aside, right? Every year, and I can come up there.
I don't know,
Um,
man. Unless you're gonna start chopping yourself up in pieces, I don't know if you're gonna be able to get
yeah,
everywhere.
it's going to be tough. Right now, November is completely sold out with Florida. I'm in South Florida for, uh, you know, 8 days or something, and then Central Florida is where I live, so we have full week and a half build up here, and then I've got 7 days filled in the Panhandle in North Florida right now. So November is pretty locked and loaded. Uh, the first week of December has filled up. The first week of October, I'm going up to that first weekend. I'm going up to Kentucky for that college. I'll go over to Lakeview, and then the last week of October is starting to fill up. Just had Lake Mary and Merritt Island lock in, so they're starting to fill up there. So it's been fun. It's been interesting. It's I'll be tired, but um, in,
You
yeah,
know,
so it'll be
so
fun.
so going back to the Georgia Super 32, one of the things I think that we see in Georgia that we don't see in Florida as much is the fact of the number of states that are represented. So in Georgia, you get Alabama, they've got Colorado, Florida kids, Illinois, Louisiana, North Carolina, Ohio, South Carolina, Tennessee. The trek down to Kissimmee is a much longer trek. So
Yeah,
I bet you North Carolina kids are probably stopping in Atlanta basically and doing this one and not heading all the
yeah,
way down.
and I know. And listen, over the years, we've started to see the Florida one fill up with kids from not only the southeast, but we've seen California kids come in that
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
make it over there. So yeah, but obviously with Georgia, with the southeast, it's obviously an either you hit the Beltway right there, and everything's pretty easy to
Yeah.
get into, right? Um, but man, I listen. We know we know there may be one or two or three or five or seven Mills kids there. So and they're all pretty good.
They
You know.
yes, yes. There will be several Mills kids who are registered. And little Araya who will be who wrestled 98 pounds. He's a two-time Fargo champ. So most recently, but I'll tell you what, I mean, for
Yeah,
me, for me, the two weight classes that you have to watch are 13 and 38.
yeah. You mentioned
113 has
Rosas, DJ Clark. Yeah, I mean, talk about them, man. Those are some good kids.
Yeah, so that's last year's. That was to show you who all competed last year and everything else. Rosas beat Clark at 113 last year. If you go a little further down on the list, 113 has seven returning 2024 state champs. At
Oh,
least
there
they're
we go.
registered.
Wow, 44 kids in that bracket.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that crazy?
All right, I see. Yeah, seven state champs headline 113.
So you got Keon Simon from Alabama, Gabe Easy from Georgia, Nathan Manos from South Carolina, East Side South Carolina, shout out. Sam Combs, Luke Mayan up in Tennessee. You got a couple of North Carolina state champs and McGonahay and Quincy. And then you have kids who were state placers. And with seven state champs, if we go by state placement, you're gonna have a kid who's a state runner-up who's not a top 8 seed. I mean, so that's the action is going to be fast and furious at 113 and 138. 138 is actually my favorite weight class to watch.
Yeah, you put the best way to the tournament, at least if everyone that registered shows.
Which is always
Uh,
an issue, right? I mean, come on.
yeah,
I can't tell you how many times I've written a preview and then I'm like, well, you know what? Why in the heck did I write a preview? Because like this kid moved up a weight, this kid didn't show, this kid moved over here. Now the weight class is actually 132. You know what I mean?
yeah. Wow. I mean, champ Bradley Williams, Bentley Sly, Connor Bowden, Colson Hoffman, Maddox MacArthur, Connor Dowdy. Wow. Illinois state runner-ups. And Thomas Silva coming in. Another state runner-up from Georgia, Carter. Wow. Thaddeus. Yeah, that thing is loaded. I wonder if I know there's Florida kids coming up, but probably the big hammers are staying down here.
Yeah, so there's actually not a ton of Florida kids coming up. The kids that are coming up to the state of from the state of Florida are mostly your panhandle kids, where it probably is maybe the same distance as far as traveling goes from
Yeah,
panhandle up there as opposed to going down to Kissimmee. And you've got some good ones. I mean, I think if you look at 132 has Jasper Kroom and Jay Brown from the state of Florida. Both were state
yeah.
placers previously.
120 has Gavin Sammons.
Yep. So there's some good Florida kids in the group, but not obviously necessarily the kids that we see like a Cooper Haas we saw a couple years ago at the Super 32 early entry tournament or
And
trying to think of
I've got to
other.
see. I know I was talking with Coach, the coaches at George Jenkins because I took the photos, and
I think
I
I think
believe
they've got a couple coming up or going up.
they got a couple of them, and I don't know which kids. I mean, they've got a young kid in Drew that's really good.
Oh,
Um,
really?
I'd love to see how he does. Uh,
Yeah, I we could go through the participant list, but there's no reason
but
to.
I don't know. Yeah, there's no reason to that. But he's a. I think he's someone to keep an eye on. I think he's going to do really well
Yeah,
this year.
well, you know what's really fun for me in the state of Georgia one, or especially the Georgia kids, and that is so in Georgia, you can't wrestle high school, you can't wrestle in high school, the high school state tournament until you're a freshman. But they're Araya Mills, Cody Clark, both 16U All Americans in Fargo, are eighth graders this year, and they're going to wrestle in this tournament because it's not a high school state tournament or it's not a high school tournament. So it's
And
always interesting to see them wrestle.
I think that they'll do okay.
They probably will be, yeah, they'll probably be okay. Yeah.
So what
So
is
anyway, if you guys get a chance, Ola High School Saturday, I'll be out and taking some pictures and yeah, covering it. It's gonna be a ton of fun, man.
Yeah, I was up there. I was up there a few years ago, covering it with you, and a great
Mm-hmm.
school. I like the way. I like the way the fans can stand on the railing that overlooks the mats, so you can kind of stand up there. It keeps people from kind of crowding the mat. They still find a way a little bit. But it's nice because if you're up
But
there, I
but
mean, you
not
could
like
see.
some tournaments, man. Some
No,
tournaments you can't
no.
see a
I
thing.
mean, it's nice the way they have that set up, and you can really get up there and you can watch all the mats happening right from there. And then um, I don't know if it's a gym, a second gym, or if it's the auditorium that they take all the chairs out of, but they've got that back
Yeah.
area there that has a
Well,
stage in it
it has a
where the
stage, so
mats.
it makes you think that maybe it's an auditorium. Maybe it's like the old auditorium, but you know what I mean.
Right, yeah. So, um, but yeah, they lay out a bunch of mats. It's run well. Obviously, Fretwell does a good job there. So, um,
All right, before we I'm going to move on from this, but before I
yeah,
forget to say it, I want to give a tease because I have begun working on something that Dan and Brant Parsons are going to join me on here in the next few weeks throughout the middle of September. It won't be part of our, I don't think it'll be part of our regular show. I think we'll probably still do our regular show and we'll do this just in
yeah, for
addition,
sure.
right?
Yeah, it'll be
Um,
fun.
so what we started doing is we started compiling who might be the best 25 wrestlers of the last 25 years in each of the states. And I'm going to do Florida with you guys. I'm going to do Georgia with Scrappy, and I'm going to do Alabama with Jake Elkins from Ironclad. And it's going to be a ton of
Is
fun.
and is Scrappy's name in there?
Is Scrappy's name in there? Actually, the way we decided to do that was that he cannot be included in the list for consideration. Now,
Now, listen,
I don't
this
know that he would
boy,
have been in there. I don't know if he'd been in there anyway.
I
Honestly,
don't know, but that boy was good.
he
That boy
was
was
good.
good.
He
That boy was
was.
good.
No, he
And
was he was super good. The challenge is that I mean, right now, I'm gonna because I've been working on Florida. There are individuals who won 4 and 5 state championships who I have down in the 20s
in Florida or Georgia?
in Florida.
In Florida.
And the
Well,
reason,
I mean, I got to imagine the Nordstroms have to be in the conversation. Two
dude,
six
yeah.
timers, right?
Well, no, there's
Two
never
five
been a six.
timers,
Yeah, there's never
two
been a
five
six
timers.
timer.
Yeah. Um, I have a
But
feeling there.
but your challenge is this, right? And this is one of the things that we talked about was that your high school, so it's from high school on. So high school is one component, but like let's take a like a Sedarian Perry, right? Who I think won one Florida State title, but he was also a Division One NCAA Division One All American. How much does that trump somebody who won 5 state titles but never made the
Ah,
state NCAA tournament?
so the way that we the okay, so and me being me because obviously, well, you can't take into consideration that I thought we were talking about high school only and blah blah blah, right? That guy, that
And
fan,
we're
right?
and we're not.
And we're not, right?
And we're
So
not.
this is when you say the best 25 in the last 25 years, this includes their entire career. What kid was
From
born at
starting
was
from high school, starting
right? So what
from when
kid
they competed in high school.
from ninth grade to through college or world uh, competition?
That is
So
correct.
you'd have to look at like Franklin, right? I'm sure Franklin's in the conversation.
That is correct. And Franklin only
Guys like
won
that.
one Florida State title. He also won an NCAA title. He was a world silver medalist and a 2-time Olympian.
Well, I mean, but he only won one state title. I mean,
Right.
I mean, come
this
on.
is where everybody in the world or everybody in Florida is gonna hate me because they're gonna be like, what? How do you put that person in front? And I'm thinking to myself, how do you not? How do you not?
Well, and we have to let people know that the grading is based on high school, what they did in high
Yes.
school,
Well,
what they did
the
beyond high
start
school.
of their high school career. So let's say, so I think Fox Baldwin placed
Right. This
seven
it
times.
doesn't.
So it'll go
Right.
back into his middle school years a little
Right.
bit.
So it doesn't matter if you call us and say, but Johnny won 7 Tulsas.
Exactly. I don't care about no Tulsa, babe.
Right, right,
I mean,
right.
that's fine, but I'm not climbing through the
But
records of
but
Tulsa.
but Johnny won 5 AAU titles in sixth grade, fifth grade, fourth grade. That's all.
And that's great for Johnny, and I think he's wonderful, but that doesn't mean jack diddly squat to my rankings.
So what we're gonna do, and that's cool, and it'll be cool for me too because getting to kind of um, moderate. Is it moderate or mediate? Moderate.
Yeah, well, I mean, if Brent and I get in a heated discussion, it might be mediate, but I mean, it could be moderate.
Get the moderate. Yeah. I'll be
We're
like,
not going to get in a heated
guys,
discussion though, so that's not
no,
going to be
no.
an issue.
I'll be like, we're here today with blah, blah, blah. The first question is, guys, who is? Yeah, and but it'll be fun. I can't wait to do it because I know some of them just based on my interviews or seeing them coach, but to get to learn, like I said, when I get to go to the Hall of Fame and get to learn the lineage of these guys that I meet out there, I mean,
Oh no,
crazy.
the
It'd be
reason
really
I
cool.
wanted to do this, right, really was for a couple of different reasons, right? We If you haven't been around the sport, like I've been around the sport for 50 years. I mean, a long time, right? In the state of Florida, I've been around the sport for a long time.
But he's only 37 years old, guys.
29, 29, 29,
29.
29. All right.
Been around a long time.
But
By the way, Fear the Bird or
but
something like that.
I think we understand a very select moment in time. We understand we watched this kid wrestle at this moment in time. And unless you've been around it for a long period of time and watched it over a long period of time, it's really hard to put it in perspective. Some of just how good some individuals were
I,
during certain
I,
periods of time.
I tell you what. Now, do we create a Google form, like kind of a nomination form, and we send out the Google form out and say, fill this out for us and nominate who you think, and we can make the Google form say like um, high school career, ninth through 12th grade, college career, or post college career.
So
And again,
I don't want them to have to fill out all the information, but what I was thinking about doing was this: is that I'd have my vote. Brant is gonna kind of have a vote, but Brant wants to just kind of chime in, I think, and kind of give what he thinks and all these different things, and maybe question why I put somebody someplace, which is totally good. Um, but I think we should have a fans vote.
yep.
So I'll give you a list of say 100 wrestlers and 101 will be other. So you can put somebody else in. And I think you should, as the fan, pick your top 10.
And
And
submit
we
it.
will and we'll compile it and compare
Yep.
it to our top 10.
And we put on there what the require like, hey, we don't, the top 100, it doesn't matter if Stevie was the second grade PE wrestling champion.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's still
we'll provide all the information, but nobody's going to read any of the
I
directions you
tell you
give.
what, this is a great idea and you've got my mind going because I think when we compile the top 25, we then invite them all to dinner and we have a little dinner with them and we have a little dinner with them like and that would be super cool. Well, I'm going way beyond now, but
Yeah,
uh,
you know
it'll
what?
be barbecue in the park with hot dogs and hamburgers. No,
This is where talking about an idea with Dan can go way off the rails. Like,
yeah,
yeah, we could go a lot of different directions. But you know
no,
what?
no.
It's
But
gonna
we
be
can
fun.
provide. It's going to be great. We could provide little plaques to these people that get chosen. Kind of like the NBA. Remember how the NBA did with the top 75 of all time, and um, uh, we'll get. You can get someone to make shirts. I made the
Yes,
no, but
stop.
this will be fun. No, it'll be fun. I think it'll be cool to talk when we'll get something out there for everybody to kind of chime in. We want them to be involved as well, and
Yeah.
this will be super awesome. And I don't know how long until we think we'll have the first show to discuss it.
Yeah, so I in my head, what I'm thinking of is we'll give about we'll open up a Google sheet or a Survey Monkey or something like that for everybody, and we'll give them about a week and a half to 2 weeks, right? And then
Yep.
what we'll do is we'll do 3 shows, and it'll be about the middle of September after we get through maybe right around Florida's Super 32 early entry tournament. Is about the first one we'll drop. And what we'll do is we'll do others considered and 21 through 25. And then the next show we'll do 11 through 20. And then in the final show at the end of September, we'll do our top 10.
Bam.
It's gonna be fun,
And
dude. And every
and
and I want everybody to know, like, this is completely one person or a couple people's opinions, right? I mean, this is an opinion. I mean, there's no way to compare apples and oranges here. So I don't want anybody to be upset.
and if whoever we choose as number one is still alive and well, I hope, God bless them.
Well,
They
it's in the last 25 years. I don't know that any have passed. I don't, not that I know of,
Oh, good. Well,
that are
maybe
on the
we
list.
reach whoever becomes number one. Maybe we reach out to them and invite them on.
He's pretty shy. I don't know that he's going to, but yeah,
Oh, so you already know who your number one is?
I think I know.
Wow!
I think I know.
Wow!
It still has to go through some process, but I have, I think I have my top 10 pretty much set.
Well, your number one that isn't Fox Baldwin because he's not shy.
I'm not giving anything out, man. You go ahead, you go ahead and try to pick out who the number one is out of the group. But you know what? You're going to spend all day, and I'm not going to tell you even if you
No,
get it
well,
right.
I mean, obviously he's in the 25. I mean, obviously that's.
Maybe.
Um, well, everybody, it'll be Michael Mocco, Bo Bartelt,
All
Cooper
right.
Haas. All right, no. Anyway, I'm just
As he names
throwing out
as he names only kids who have wrestled in the last 4 years.
right because that's all I know. That's all I know. That's all I know. Um, it'll be fun, but I can't wait to learn about everything and cool. It'll be
It's gonna be
fun.
a blast, dude. I can't wait. It's gonna be a great
Yeah.
time. Anything else for the rest of the week or this week?
No, I mean next week we obviously next week Tuesday is what date is Tuesday?
Third, fourth? I don't remember.
Yep. So we'll have to talk about North Carolina.
Yep.
Their
And
32 is coming up next weekend, and then the following Tuesday we'll talk about Florida
Florida,
32, which comes up that weekend.
right? We'll do a little recap
So
of
cool.
U20s. And if everybody gets a chance, make sure you go watch the U20s wrestle. And if you didn't get to watch the U17s, shame on you, man. Go watch it. It's totally great.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I was in the room at uh, at the Hall of Fame, and you could see like cell phones up on the table of
Darn
the,
right.
of the matches
Darn,
going on.
darn right. Because you know what? We might
Uh,
all we might be a dysfunctional family, but we're a family still nonetheless.
yeah, it's cool. I mean, I got to tell you, and I know you have to go, but the one thing that is super cool, and it's been now 4 years that I've gotten to since COVID. So since Danny Walker, the year Danny Walker got inducted, and then forward. When I get to talk to these people, and you've probably interviewed more of them than I have, but um, they all say the same thing. I don't deserve this. I don't deserve to be here. This isn't about me. This just means that the people around me, I've touched, and I meant
Yeah,
the most. So it's crazy to see how humble these guys are, and uh, and how many people they touched when you get to meet the people in the room that these people have changed their lives. These coaches just changed so many lives, and it's unbelievable. So uh, all the coaches out there, whether in the Hall of Fame, not in the Hall of Fame, just out there doing what they do. Just man, God bless you guys, and
tip of
you're
the cap.
saving you're saving a kid's life. You're changing a kid's life. You're mentoring a kid's life, and you're just
Yeah,
doing a lot for that.
you're
So
certainly having an impact. And the one thing I would tell you is you have a lot of power. Make sure that the power that you have or that you use is in a positive way.
Yeah.
make sure that you have a positive impact on that person's life. And so many do, right? So many have such
Right.
a positive impact. I still have kids who wrestled for me a long time ago reach out and we have conversations. So it's such a great feeling. It's so cool to have that opportunity. I mean, it's really an opportunity for you
Yeah.
to really have that impact. And man, the coaches that just went in, it was so awesome. They have taken that opportunity and really taken it to the next level.
Yeah. And it was awesome to hear how loved they are and how appreciated they are and how much they mean to so many. So it's cool. And shout out to obviously the Hall of Fame. They do a great job and they work their butts off. And I mean, these guys are up in years and they're out working young people. They're busting their butts. So
They
good for them.
are.
With
It
that
doesn't
being,
happen overnight. It doesn't happen without a lot of people putting in a lot of time, effort, and energy. So
yeah, so cool. Well, enjoy your week. We may or may not. I know I reached out to the Mocco family. I know he's been on a long trip and he's traveled for the last 24 hours. But hopefully we can get him on at some point and we can kind of hear his experience because I bet it was pretty cool.
yeah, no doubt. All right, Dan, I
All
appreciate it,
right.
man.
See you, bud.
Peace.